So, yeah, so I don't know if I posted it on Facebook, I don't know, a couple days ago, I guess now. And
Mhm.
I had never in my life shared this story like with anybody, and including my friend. It's kind of a painful it's kind of a painful memory at some level. So, all right, so here's the thing. So when I was a wee lad, I had a speech impediment, and I couldn't talk like the other kids. And honestly, I was as you can probably tell, I was really embarrassed about this. And every week when I was going to school, I'd get pulled out of class and taken to this little room where this, I'll never forget this lady, very kind, very patient teacher, like a
Yeah.
special, I guess, I don't know.
Speech therapist, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh-huh. And she would sit with me and help me learn how to speak. So this is like first grade, second grade, third grade, and fourth grade, if I remember right. So for 4 years, I'd see this lady had the patience of Job, and she'd use flashcards and frankly encouragement, and just kept showing up for me. And but I had to tell you what really. So I wanted to, I don't know, get her approval or whatever, right? And up for all the right reasons. But what really got me, like really, like the main driving force on this with me was a friend of mine, and his name was Rory. Now here's the thing. I couldn't say his name.
I don't think that's a hard name to say. Give yourself a little bit of credit. Rory's a hard name to say anyway.
Well, I couldn't say it. And so I had a trouble with a couple letters, R's being one of those. And like we'd be out on the playground, and I'd want to call out to my buddy, like, hey, come over here, let's go down the slide or whatever, let's go throw the frisbee like everybody else could. But I couldn't yell it, I couldn't say his name. And so I worked on it and I practiced. And then one day, I'll never forget it. I can remember it like literally it was like last week that I said his name, Rory, and I said it the right way. And I've been able to say it every day, not every day, but every time since then. But here's the kicker, and I think of this as kind of ironic that so here I am many decades later, and um, today I coach loan officers, I lead mastermind groups.
Yeah.
This podcast that you and I have the honor of doing, it's the largest one for loan officers. I say North America, but I would guess the world, I guess, because I don't know where else it'd be more than North America.
I
Uh,
just talked to somebody from Barbados last week.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I speak on stage and I do webinars. We do podcasts. We do the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, which is the largest daily Zoom call for loan officers in the industry. I mean, you name it, and with gratitude. So this is going to sound braggadocious, and I don't mean for it to sound that way. But I built a business, that generates tens of millions of dollars, but it's all because I didn't quit,
Yeah.
right? It's all because I kept showing up. And Kristen, this was about as awkward as it could get for me, like especially as a young boy,
Yeah.
very uncomfortable, because
Imagine.
we all want to fit in, and and sometimes, I mean, kids being kids, they didn't know what they're doing, right? They're just being kids. That
Mimic you.
yeah, Carl, say this word, say this word, say this word, and I
Yeah.
and I couldn't say it. And with the help of a mentor, right? Somebody that believed in me before I even believed in myself, I pushed through it. And and the reason I shared it the other day on social media wasn't just to say some feel good story and small town boy makes good kind of thing, but because I wanted to challenge people that I'm connected with on social media, like what is your Rory moment? Like what's
Mhm.
that thing that you've been avoiding? Uh,
Yeah.
what's that one thing that deep down you want to grow your business or even change your life, but you're afraid to do it? And and it might be something as simple as like picking up the phone and calling your database, or following up with your pre-approvals to see how are they still out looking, and that nagging thing. Oh, I don't want to bug them. I don't want to bother them.
Yeah.
Or is it reaching out to that realtor, maybe that you've been watching from the sidelines? And we all have that one uncomfortable thing that's sitting between us and our next level. And here's the good news of it. I still don't say it perfect, I don't think. Way better than I used to.
Mhm.
But you don't have to be perfect at it. You just got to start and keep going. Like I never forget the hours, collectively hours and hours that I spent with this angel, going
Mm.
rah, rah, rah.
Truly, truly
Yeah.
to sit there with a child for working through it.
Yeah. Until one day it clicked. And the same thing, like when you push through it, is your breakaway might be one, I don't know, rep away.
Yeah.
And here's the wild part that I think of is on the other side of that Rory moment might be your entire future. Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next. And so I would say for our listeners today, and we were planning another topic, but we'll record another. The topic we were going to do, we'll do it
Yeah.
next. Is identify, like like what is your Rory? Like what is that thing that's holding you back? What is that thing that you're afraid of, embarrassed of, uncomfortable with?
Mhm.
Uh, and take that one uncomfortable action every single day this coming week, like every work day this coming week, make that one uncomfortable action. Maybe that's what we'll call this episode is one uncomfortable action, because I think like we can do this. And just like that, that sweet, sweet, sweet lady, believed in me. Chris and I want to tell all of you that's listening, like we believe in you and you can do it. So just identify what is that one thing that's kind of holding you back and just start just start the process. Like do like
Mhm.
what's the like she'd always tell me, Carl, just what's the first sound? Rah. Well, just say that again and again. So what's that first step? And just do the first step. So I don't know. In my mind, it made a connection when I wrote it up. I don't know if it's doing the same when I maybe it didn't when I
Wait,
wrote it
I
up.
do have one question about that post though, because you know
Tell
what
me.
got me on that post, what stopped me was the picture of that cute little boy with his cowboy hat on.
So I literally remember. So that was a long time ago, but I remember I remember taking that picture, and the funny thing about that picture. So and people that are I don't know maybe if you're watching this on YouTube, I guess we flash it across the screen or something like that. But you'll notice I probably wasn't I didn't appear to be the happiest person in the world, and I'll never forget what it was. To get me to go take pictures, my mother gave me this little cowboy hat and she gave me a new cap gun. And you have to remember this was in the 60s, right? So back in the 60s, cap guns were a thing that every little boy had a cap gun.
We did have the smoke that came out of it when you pull the trigger and the little caps. I
Yeah,
remember
those,
cap guns. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Pretty
I
cool.
wanted the picture to show my little cap gun and they wouldn't let me show the gun, and that's what my little sad face was.
Aw.
But anyway, yeah, so what's your Rory moment? Like, what is that thing that's
Hmm.
it's yeah, you don't have to be perfect. I think that's the thing that holds us back is like, well, I got to wait until I'm perfect about that. It's got to be perfect before I make that first presentation. It's got to be perfect before I make that phone call. It's got to be perfect before I give that message. And
Yeah.
I think the imperfection is one of the things that it makes people attractive. Here, I'll tell you another story.
Okay.
I was listening to a podcast this past weekend, and this guy he's an attorney, and he's a shorter guy, right? So he's height challenged, I guess. I don't know how tall
Vertically challenged.
he's vertically challenged, and I don't know. He's probably 5'5", something like that. Which for a guy, it's a little on the shorter side. And he says what he does is he does a lot of trials. So he actually shows up to court and does trials for serious things. And he says he loves it when the I don't know what you call it, the opposing attorney, the opposition, whatever. I don't know what the
Sounds
right word.
good. Yep.
Yeah. So the opposing attorney says, I love it when they're like 6'5", because they come in and they're tall and what whether it's a lady or a man, they're tall and they have this this because they're tall and they appear powerful and all those cliches that we
David
like to
versus
have.
Goliath.
Yeah. And he said what he does is, and he said they come in with such confidence. And he
Hmm.
says, what I do when I come in, I kind of stutter a little bit. And I go and I tell them I'm a little intimidated and or that I'm nervous. And he said, I'll literally come in and I'll tell the jury, hey, so my name's, insert in name. And I just have to tell you, I'm just a little bit nervous here today. But what I'm going to show you today is how my client is innocent, kind of
Hmm.
thing. And he said when he walks in there being, let's say it imperfect, that they like we have this innate thing in us that wants to root for the underdog,
Yes.
right? It's just that thing about us, right? We always want to root for the underdog. And so when you come in as perfect, you're not the underdog. When you come in as imperfect, you have that underdog thing, and people want to kind of champion for you. I'll never forget
It's
CeeLo Green.
authentic.
What's that?
It's authentic. It's real.
Yeah. Do you know the singer CeeLo Green? Do you know who that
Oh,
is?
yeah.
Yeah. I love that man, right? I just absolutely love him. And he probably looks about as far from what I'm going to call a rock star, a music star, uh, as anybody that you can think of, right? And but I was watching him back when he was on, I think he was on one of those
American Idol
American
or
Idol. Yeah.
yeah.
I think he was on American Idol and he said something I've never forgotten. And I probably literally think of at least once a week. He said, God made me imperfect in a perfect way.
Mm.
God made me imperfect in a perfect way. And I thought, man, that is it. So as you're listening to this today, just understand that, at least in my belief system, that God made you imperfect, but in a perfect way, and use that imperfection to move yourself forward. And that's anyway, that's all I wanted to. It's again a different topic than what we had planned, but
That's okay.
and maybe we'll publish
It's a
this and
great
maybe we
topic.
won't. Yeah, we'll
No,
see.
it's a great topic.
All right.
Find that one thing holding you back and take the first step.
Yeah. Hey, well, we got to have a call. We can't do an episode without a call. Even though I have to tell you here, I tell you what. Here's what I want you to do. As you're listening to this day, when Chris and I sign out, Kristen has recorded a call to action at the end of this episode. Because I was listening to some past episodes, and all of a sudden I hear your voice, and I go,
Ah, yeah.
how cool is that? So we're just going to sign off, but sit and listen to the message Kristen gives you. It's very powerful, and if you're lucky, if you're really really lucky, you might actually get Kristen on the phone. So we'll sign off with that. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, I appreciate you, my friend.
You too, Carl.